Uncharted has long been a household name for video games, but the time has finally come for it to get its big screen adaptation, and we got to see a preview of the movie, and we're here to tell you all about it. First off, we'll answer a question that I'm sure a lot of you have. Do you have to have played the Uncharted games to understand the movie? And the answer is simple, no. The movie draws from the plots of all 4 games and blends them together in kind of a new story. We've got 2 hours of non-stop action and a treasure hunt that will take our protagonists to the far corners of the world. They're also gonna have to face off against an enemy who's on a quest for that exact same treasure. The film had a budget of $120 million. Look at me when I say that, $120 million. And the result is kind of like what you get if you combine Indiana Jones with Marvel. It is a lot of stunts and special effects in store. Tom Holland even said that it required the most difficult stunts of his young acting career. These games are filled with epic and surreal scenes from which Nathan should never have ever escaped alive, and the movie attempts to stay true to that. But while that works great in a video game, it works a little less in a movie. The exploration is really not the best part of the movie. They start out in Spain and then pretty much just go right to where the treasure is. You can tell that the screenwriters were really forced to cut a long and epic treasure hunt down to 2 hours, and that calls for some shortcuts. By the time Nate starts his quest, Sully's already basically done most of the work. Tom Holland reminded us a lot of Peter Parker in this film, which makes sense because the role of Nate isn't that different from the way that Tom plays Spider-Man. Both characters are cool, collected, and have their way of being pretty funny, even in the face of death. The same thing can be said for Mark Wahlberg. On the other hand, young Nate and young Sam were played incredibly well. So well, in fact, that we had flashes of Uncharted 4 throughout every scene featuring the young actors. So what will this movie be for the longtime fans of the franchise, the one who grew up playing Naughty Dog's series? Unfortunately, we think you might be disappointed. As we already noted, the movie takes the 4 different game plots and mixes them together in a new storyline. And when you have to condense 20 hours of gameplay into 2 hours of film, well, some things just will not make the cut. It also meant that some of the other characters were a little underdeveloped for our taste. We had trouble getting attached to or even understanding the motivations of characters like Sully or even Braddock, who is basically a carbon copy of Nadine in the 4th Uncharted installment. The relationship between Sully and Nate is also very far from what it is in the video games, and the big age gap between the two can be blamed for a lot of that. In the video game, Sully takes Nate under his wing and treats him like family. He's very attached to him. In the movies, there is that kind of complicity, although it comes a bit late, and it's totally different from in the game. We did get that iconic feeling whenever Sully calls Nate kid. Obviously, he does it better than I did, but you get what we mean. Interestingly, this was one of the things that many players had complained about throughout the first 3 games, and that was vastly improved on in the 4th. The 4th game slowed down for the characters, their feelings and emotions, which allowed players to feel more attached to them. Unfortunately, the film just does not do that nearly as well. Finally, when it comes to the characters of the movie, at least in our opinion, they are lacking charisma, especially the villains. Again though, it feels like that largely comes from the fact that action in the movie takes away from the character development. With all that said, it is an enjoyable movie to watch. Like any other Marvel movie or any other big production, it has these big, giant, enjoyable action scenes. The tone is light and it is occasionally pretty funny. If you like big American blockbusters, then we're sure that you will definitely find things to like about this movie.
Hey, put him down, boys.
What is that thing on your face?
Yeah, puberty's right around the corner, kid. You can grow your own.
What's with the cat?
She's just for you.
What?
Life seems super sad.
I'm not gonna keep this thing.